It is now 6:14, and I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Present.
Alderman Florian.
Present.
Alderman Hayes.
Present.
Alderman Bolton.
Present.
Alderman Guzman.
Present.
Alderman Martinez. Alderman Felix.
Present.
Alderman Newsome.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Present.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item C, can I have a first and a second for a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from the November 18th, 2024 meeting?
So move.
Alderman Newsom, a second.
Second.
Alderman Turner. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please. Or actually, it can be a voice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Okay. Item D, a motion, can I have a first and a second to start off with?
First?
That was
Second.
Alderman, oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
That was Alderman Felix, and second was Alderman Turner. Any questions to the motion? It is a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole meetings from the Monday, December 2nd, 2024 meeting. No questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item E, can I have a first and a second for a motion to go into closed session to discuss pending or imminent litigation pursuant to?
Motion.
Okay. Alderman
Second.
Turner, second was Alderman Donnerworth. I need a roll call on this one. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Mayor Taylor.
Aye. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Okay, can I have a motion to, wait a couple. Can I have a motion to reconvene after executive session?
So moved. Second.
Alderman Florian, second was Alderman Newsome. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Is there any audience time for the Committee of the Whole? Okay. On to old business, a motion to reconsider an ordinance amending a various provision of the Waukegan Liquor Control Ordinance and Ordinance 18048 regarding a Class C1 licenses. Okay.
I can explain this one.
Yeah, but I haven't done the motion yet. Can I have a first and a second?
First.
Second.
Alderman Guzman, second was Alderman Turner. Okay.
Okay, actually, hold on. The motion needs to be made by someone who voted against it last time.
So move.
Second.
It can be seconded by whoever.
Okay. So would be Alderman Bolton would be the first, second was Alderman Turner? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
You want to explain
Yeah,
it?
I'm going to do a very quick, just procedural explanation of what this means. So, a motion to reconsider is when the city council, or in this case, the Committee of the Whole, has voted on something, and one of the people who voted on the prevailing side, whether that prevailing side was a yes or a no, wants to change their mind. They are allowed to make a motion to ask the city council to put this back on the agenda. So Alderman Bolton, who voted against Alderman Guzman's proposal, it was actually 2 meetings ago. Normally, a motion to reconsider needs to be made at the next meeting. However, last week we had or 2 weeks ago, we had a procedural issue where we basically opened and closed Committee of the Whole because we had no time to do it. At City Council, she made this motion to reconsider. In that case, we have to we called no harm, no foul, and it placed this here. So today, there will be a motion to reconsider. The effect of this, if this passes, is that this discussion will be placed back on the agenda for further discussion. Will not be discussed and debated tonight. This is, do you want to bring this back? That is the whole purpose of this motion.
We would go to the council still?
No, it would go to the committee of the whole next time.
It died here.
Procedural thing, it has to be done that way.
Yeah.
It's
It,
just
it,
Robert Rules of Order.
Yeah, it died here. This is this is to resurrect it and bring it back for further discussion at the committee of the whole.
Okay, so that's what you're voting for tonight. You're not actually voting on the issue itself. And then we'll probably only do this once so that we can keep council on time. So roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Are we taking questions or no?
Discussion?
Yeah, I just had a question. I'm just curious if something changed for us to revote on this, and if something changed, I'm curious to know what it is.
Alderman Bolton
Just need to
changed your
vote.
mind.
You just changed your mind, but was there some new consideration, or was there? I'm just
New
curious to know.
consideration and all the way around. To expedite time, let's vote. Either yea or
Second.
nay.
I don't think
Okay.
that was a motion. But when I'm reconsidering
Motion?
my vote, I just want to know if there was some new information that the whole council should be aware of.
No, not at this time, other than it's being grandfathered in, and I just want to reconsider.
Okay, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry, I only have Alderman Bolton with the
Turner
motion.
was
Turn-
second.
Second.
Turner was second.
Turner?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Alderman Donenworth.
Aye.
Florian.
No.
Hayes.
No.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Nay.
Turner.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Okay. Okay, at this point, I'm going to put the item B and C on the next agenda, along with the new business one. So we will do that at the January, what, is that the 6th?
Mayor, I have a quick question, because the B would affect, essentially, it would be affected by if we start the new year. Can I just say something? I'll make 2 minutes. So for the Hispanic parade, if we take the amount off, like let's say the amount off, right? Just take the amount off, but we still would require the RFP, request for proposal, to get someone that would be a good fit for the city. Is that something that the council would consider? Take the amount off, right? We're looking at the process, just the process to make sure the person, the entity that would be coming in to do the Hispanic parade would be a vetted entity. Is that something that the council would consider?
Sure, I just have some quick questions. One is, that's what the special events coordinators do, is they vet that. But two, are you looking at doing that on all the parades then? Because I don't know
Just-
if it would be fair that,
Well, just this one, because it's one of the biggest parades that we have, the biggest one that we have, and then the reason why I would want to do this one is that at the end of the year, we're not having two different. Everyone's battling for it. We're just actually going to have. No one's going to be able to apply for it. We're going to actually request proposals from viable entities to.
I think that's a legal issue. Can you, like, do that for only one parade?
Mayor, if we're going to discuss this, I think there should be a motion and a second, and then we can discuss.
Okay.
So,
Can I have a first and a second to hear this? This is
First.
about item B.
Second.
Okay, was that Alderman Donenworth that said first? I need a second. Alderman Felix?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
no, you don't, this is just a first and a second to
Okay.
discuss this.
Okay.
So, Mayor, to your question, what this item is that Alderman Felix is proposing to create an official city event that would be a Hispanic Heritage Parade that would be held in conjunction with basically Mexican Independence Day, that would be similar to the way that Scoop is run or other events like the Veterans Day procession, but would also have the city issue an RFP to basically award a concession to an outside group to do it. With that structure, yes, the city could do that because people cannot conduct like a second Scoop, for instance, in the same. What Alderman Felix has proposed would be legal under our code. Whether it's a good policy decision or not is up to that's up to the council.
So there's no dollar amount associated with this. They would just submit a proposal, and
His motion does allocate $50,000 to pay for public safety and public work services. It does not create, and it contemplates that the proposer would actually, they would not be paid by the city, but they would get to keep some form of the revenue that they would collect. But that hasn't been decided yet.
yeah. I think if we did that, paid any money, we'd have to do it for others. So you want to take that, you want to amend that to take
Amend
that
that
off
out,
the table?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it would just be doing it for this parade. It would be taking any dollar amount that we'd be giving it. And then when would you want the request for proposals due by? Because right now, they can submit as early as January 9th. So when would you want the request for the proposals due by?
I think that's something that I would like to work on, something that's, we can work with the staff and
Because a
give it a.
parade this big really needs about 6 months. So to get vendors and vendors book their time and stuff, so you'd want no later than March.
I would say that's a good,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you want to amend this to be no money request and proposed by, should we say March?
Third quarter, or,
Let's see what the calendar date, say the 1st if it's on a weekend.
Middle of March would be, there's a Friday, March 14th, if you were shooting for something in the middle of March.
I would go the beginning, I would go March 3rd.
Okay.
Okay, so March 3rd, Monday, March 3rd?
yep,
Okay.
sounds good.
I have a question, Mayor.
Okay, Alderman Florian?
So are we going to be willing to do this for every parade? I mean, Alderman Felix keeps saying this is the biggest parade, but we really don't have any evidence that the 4th of July parade isn't just as big. So are we going to do this for every parade that the city does, like Juneteenth and
Well,
4th of July and Pride Parade and like,
We don't do the 4th of July parade, right? The Park District does it. Am I correct?
but it's still a parade in the city of Waukegan. Whoever did, Juntos, whatever, did the Fiestas parade, and they did a great job. So what difference does it make if it's a Park District or Juntos, who I can't say their name, but they did a great job. It was a huge success.
It's
So
just
what
the-
difference does it make that it's the Park District that does the 4th of July parade?
It's just the part where we're requesting for a RFP. That's the most important part that I wanted to, the reason why I wanted to bring this ordinance forward. We're asking, it's not going to be a
But what
free-for-all.
problem are you solving, I guess is my question. I
Well-
don't understand the problem you're solving.
Well, at the end of the year, we have 2 people voting. Like we don't have any what do you call it? Well, we do in a way. We have to make sure they're viable. But we don't just have anyone applying for the application. We're gonna have them presenting a proposal instead
But
of.
you could do that a different way. I mean, we didn't have to get into a 2-parade situation the other year. And you've got ways, like North Chicago will tell you right off the bat, you don't have a good track record with us, so we're not letting you apply.
Right.
And they don't have to go through this process. But that depends whether or not you're willing to do that. I mean, I don't know what you're willing to do or not to do, so that's up to you guys to consider. But,
Well,
what we can't do is waive the security fees, because everybody else pays those. So they would have to be paid by that group as well, because we just don't have the money or to continue to do that. So, you know, that would have to come out of there. But Alderman Newsom, you had a question, correct?
The request for proposals, what are we proposing? They put it on, and what is the cost, and who's going to take care of the cost once they let you know what it is, or?
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when we were going through the whole process. So now we have two vendors because one applied a minute earlier than the other, and then we have two people doing, one doing the parade, one doing the vending, the festival. It hasn't been like that. So this creates this whole issue. Why not just have them submit to us what they're proposing?
But they'd have to submit, just like they do for special events, they'd have to submit the parade route, the number of
Yeah, same
people,
thing.
all their volunteers, everything that they would do for special events, that would also have to be part of the submission. Special events does a pretty good job of going over, and they've been pretty experienced at doing this. I'm not sure that taking it out of their hands and doing an RFP really solves a lot, but that's up to you guys. Alderman Guzman?
I was just gonna call the question, look, what time is it, 7 o'clock?
Yep, because we're, okay.
Either we vote or we stop.
Madam Clerk, you want to do the roll call, please? So this is a resolution by the City of Waukegan to host an annual Hispanic Heritage Parade and Festival. We've amended it to that it would not include any dollar amount and that they would have to submit by Monday, March 3rd. Okay? Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Donnerworth.
No.
Florian.
No.
Hayes.
No.
Bolton.
No.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Nay.
Turner.
No.
Noes have it.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Alderman Bolton, second was Alderman Donenworth. We're going to resume at 7:10, okay? And we'll start our meeting.